That's right. It is the morning show right here on Facebook Live, Periscope TV, Twitter, Instagram Live, YouTube Live, and of course LinkedIn. Don't forget Spotify. What are the other? We got several. SoundCloud, also Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. Glad to have you with us on today's show. We got lots of stories to share with you. Also, my very good friend, attorney at large, literally. She's like an amazing attorney. And if she doesn't know anything, she'll always refer me to another amazing attorney. She's got like, I think 10 deep attorneys. Like she knows the people. Let's put it this way. When there's a situation with the trial, other attorneys will call her saying, what do I do? How do I do it? And she's like, do this, do that, do this, do that. That's how amazing she is. Sonia Chaison's going to be here a little bit later here with us. Sonia Chaison Perez returning, talking about some interesting things, including the fires. Oddly enough, the fires are kind of the biggest news here in California, all across the state. You've got a lot of wildfires going on, some really sad details coming out of a few of them. We'll try to keep it as positive as we can. But first of all, we got Mr. Jesse Sanchez over there. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning.
Speaking of the fires, boy, oh boy, a lot of smoke in the air, right? I mean, I went out, I think it was 4:30 a.m. to get here early enough, and I was like just smelling it. You can't see it at night, but you could see the what looks like a fog or a haze, and you could just smell it in the air. And I kid you not, I was kind of coughing just, driving up here. And I thought, well, maybe I should put on my face mask. And I'll be honest, I kind of think I should have, because now I've got this little like thing in my throat. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Considering that driving here to work yesterday, yeah, I saw a chunk of the mountain on fire. So that was my view to work.
Yeah, we got some news here, which is we'll share just around the corner for our Inland Empire friends. But I mean, it's San Gabriel Valley. There's so many to talk about. But we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back right after these messages with more with our ABC News radio affiliate KMET 1490 AM. If you don't have the app, go get it right now. It's free. That's right, free. We'll be right back. All right, those of you tuning in, we are waiting for our radio audience to join us in just a minute. We got our Periscope feed over there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for retweeting. I really appreciate some of the messages. Some of you have discovered the morning show just willy-nilly there, and you said some really good things. We'd like to retweet those messages to let other people know, hey, tune in. You never know what you're going to get on this show, quite literally. Let's see, we've got Scott and Grotti. Hey, Scott, good to see you, Scott. Good to see you, Scott. Scott's a long time, I want to call, I can say it, right? Because we're not on the radio just yet. Badass. He's a real badass, like a true badass. Like he's the kind of guy you want in your corner when you got to go toe-to-toe with someone. You just have him stand there behind you. He does this like grimacing thing, but he's got a heart of gold. That's the great thing. Like you don't want to tell people that, but then you kind of do because he's like, hey, you mess with them, you mess with me. He's kind of that guy. So a big shout out to Scott and Grotti over there. We really love you, buddy, and hope you're doing well over there. All right.
5 seconds.
Oh, okay, though that was quick.
2 seconds.
We'll do another shout out to Scott. That's right.
That's
It's
right.
the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET, 1490 AM. Joining our live audience right there on Facebook, Periscope TV, Twitter. Yes, we're on Apple TV as well. I tend to forget that one. If you download the Periscope app, boom, you can watch us on your television set right there. Big, loud, and proud. We've also got YouTube Live in the house. We've got LinkedIn Live in the house. We've got SoundCloud in the house. We've got Stitcher in the house and Apple Podcasts. If you get to miss any bit of this show, you can always check it out a little bit later. We've got lots of information, but first we want to do a big shout out to somebody who's a very dear friend, very close person to my heart, Scott Ingrati over there. Scott actually, for those that don't know, is a pretty tough dude. He's the kind of guy that you always want to be able to call and like if you need to like kind of do the right thing, but somebody doesn't want to do the wrong thing, you have him just go with you right there, stand next to you, and then see them try to mouth off at you. Like seriously, he's one of those. Like if I had to go up against, you know, a certain somebody that tends to talk bad about everybody, you know, you know who. I can't say the name. I'm so limited here when what I could say. But here's the reality. There are bullies in life. You need Scott Ingrati at your side when there are bullies in your life. And that's the kind of person he is. Also a fantastic actor and stuntman. Seriously, this guy has done a lot in film. Maybe one day we'll have him on and get to hear his story on the air one day. Okay, we also got Mr. Jesse Sanchez over there, who also can kick it up with a few, right? You took like you watched a couple martial arts movies, right, Scott? I mean, Jesse?
Who hasn't watched a couple martial arts movies?
I'm just saying, it would be kind of cool, like, if you could be, like, in The Matrix, you'd be like, you know what, you watch enough of it, you watch a couple Bruce Lee, and then all of a sudden, you could do a move, you know? That would be kind of cool, but unfortunately, we don't live in that day and age, but it would be cool if we did, I think. Okay, so, Jesse, lots of news hitting the airwaves there. Speaking of air, not very easy to breathe. Can you share with me your current experience over there in the Inland Empire, Beaumont and Banning?
Yeah, it's pretty smoky out here, and it is kind of tough to breathe a little bit, especially if you're sensitive to the smoke and whatnot. It's best just to wear a mask. Be safe.
Yeah, I read an article which said even the masks aren't working. That's how, you know, these particles are going in the air. And I do say, and I do recommend, again, try to put on something. I tried to weather it. I'm not going to lie. I tried to weather. I came here at 4:30 a.m. I leave from L.A. to get here on time because it's a long drive. But I, you know, could smell the smoke waking up and exiting my door. Very dark, of course. The moon looked reddish because, of course, you've got the smoke and it's got that red hue, which makes the sun look even oddly apocalyptic. But yet at the same time, I will say, I thought, you know, I can weather this. I could be good. And I drove all the way. For those that don't know, the back window of my 4Runner is actually completely broken. I have yet to get it fixed. So, you know, the smoke's just coming in through the back window. And I'm like, yeah, I probably should put it on now. No, I'm gonna tough this one out. You know, it's just a little bit smoke, you know, like that. And that's a real cough, by the way. And so my point is this, people. Do not be like me and do not just weather, especially those of you that have asthma or you have other pre-existing lung conditions. Just be safe, okay? Just put on the face mask, wear it, you know, or put on the AC if you have that, which, again, that doesn't work in the 4Runner. Got to get that fixed, too. Jesse, seriously, the 4Runner is just like, I think of it like a Jeep. You know how Jeeps have just like the open... Well, the new Jeeps don't, especially the Jeep Gladiator, but mine's like a 4Runner 94. So you get where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
All right, so there's that. And there's this. We got lots of social media comments, but first, let's share some of the top news that many of you, of course, are very concerned, especially here in the Inland Empire. For those of you tuning in around the world, obviously, you're seeing the social media posts, most likely, that many people are posting. But for those in El Dorado, the El Dorado fire in the Yucaipa area, mandatory evacuation orders remain in effect for communities near the El Dorado fire in the Yucaipa area. Firefighters working hard to protect threatened homes and buildings in several communities, including Forest Falls. At least 10 buildings have been destroyed, including 4 homes. The El Dorado fire has burned at least 13,592 acres and is 31% contained as of Friday morning. Evacuation orders are in effect for Angeles Oaks and surrounding areas. Those living in Angeles Oaks and Seven Oaks were told Wednesday to leave their homes after the blaze flared up. Now, we've had a lot of fires in past years, and each and every time I have always said, if you get an evacuation order, just do the right thing and just leave. Even if your home is never touched, why not just not throw caution to the wind, do the right thing? I know last year, Jesse, we had a couple of people who tuned in, which were near the fires, and I want to say Ventura County and or it was in the LA basin area, and they were like, yeah, we're being told right now to evacuate. I says, you know what, then stop listening to the show and just leave, okay? Because it's better to be safe than sorry. And you never know. Sometimes it's not so much that you are put in harm's way in the end. We all hope that the fire goes in the opposite direction or they can diminish it. But it's the matter of now having to show attention to those, because you know sometimes there are people that hear the order to evacuate, but they still say, I'll be fine. But then they're trapped, and now you got firefighters trying to get them out. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Which I feel is kind of a big lesson just in the big whole coronavirus pandemic, right? You got people that are just like, no, no, no. And then it gets to be the really bad time. Now they got to go to the ICU. Now they got to get on the front line. Now you spent more time versus being safe than sorry, and now causing more problems for everybody. So we're talking about the fires, but in essence, you could kind of learn from that in other ways as well. Okay, so there's that. And then there is this news article that I saw, which oddly enough, again, is really bad when it comes to just fires happening all up and down. And, you know, all of this in the wake, of course, of 9/11. Let's not forget right now the journey that we've taken ever since 9/11. Really, the world has not been the same since 9/11. Obviously, a lot of terror back in the day, but, you know, oftentimes I always hear, you know, let's remember the fallen. Let's remember those that have given of their lives, the frontline workers. Remember that, Jesse, when there was that terrible situation and many people ended up doing just the right thing, and unfortunately, years later, their lungs either collapsing or them getting stuff in their lungs because of those very fine particles that were in the air, and, you know, firefighters losing their lives in the end. And I'm not sure exactly where all that is or where that stands. I know there was a debacle with them getting funded or getting the right funding, but we cannot forget ever our frontline workers or those that just did the right thing. I remember talking to somebody who had a emotional animal which would visit the firefighters and would just be there for them. And again, it reminds me kind of, you know, of our current situation. Granted, you don't have an act of terrorism, thank goodness, with coronavirus. However, we all are really sometimes forgetting our frontline workers, the ICU nurses, the doctors, those that are still on the front lines. And I remember a while back when I was in LA, and all of a sudden I heard I was helping move out a family friend from their LA apartment, which was like in the middle of the epicenter there. Again, couldn't afford their rent because unfortunately coronavirus, lost their job, and like, how are we going to pay for our rent, right? So help them move out. But in the middle of helping her move out, we suddenly heard like, yeah, all right, yeah. And I was like, and this went on for about like a good 5 minutes. Yeah, woo! Echoing in the LA area, which if you know the LA area, downtown LA, it echoes, right? Because you got all the buildings and of course the reverberation of applause and yeah, all right. And my question to you is this: are we still applauding those that are still on the front lines because we haven't ended the pandemic just yet? So yes, we want to remember those that have fallen and those lives that were taken from us quite suddenly in 9/11. We also want to remember those that are currently falling and are fighting for our lives right here, right now. There are so many people in life that sometimes forget our frontline workers. If you or someone you know is on the front line, give them a call and let them know, you know what do you need from me? What can I do to help you? Because I know from experience, I have a couple of friends that are on the front line, and unfortunately they get very little rest, they get very little time to themselves, they get very little, much of anything because they're doing the right thing. I remember the other day, it was about 8 weeks back, And I met this young lady at a Japanese sushi place in Rancho Cucamonga. And she was going to school or wanting to go to school for nursing. And I thought, wow, during this pandemic, you actually want to go on the front line. You want to get into that in order to, what motivated you? And you know what she said to me? She said, honestly, I take care of my parents, and if they got the coronavirus, I don't know what I would do. I would rather do the right thing, in essence, is what she said, and go and learn this profession. And I thought, you know what? I wonder how many others are in that same boat, which are saying, you know what? I realize I might get sick. I realize the chances are pretty high putting myself in harm's way. However, I'm going to do the right thing and try to learn. You know, in a time of war, for example, you've got people on the front line, you've got people on the sideline, you've got people just trying to make the right decisions. And at the same time, Jesse, I mean, you know what? Remember the movie with, what was it, with Ben Affleck and Josh Hartnett. Do you remember that? It was Pearl Harbor. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, I remember that movie.
But do you remember, again, they would get in the planes, they're like, get us up there, right? And they wanted to take out the enemy, right? Get us up there, because they were just bombarding, of course, the ships. But on the flip side of that, you had Kate Beckinsale, right? Which was, got the nurses, and got all the nurses to do the right thing, and come on, ladies, like, we got to do this, right? And the doctors, of course, there. And then they had to make the very difficult decision saying, that person can't be helped, this person can be helped. And they had to do right there, minute of the moment. Now, granted, it was a drama. These actors are still alive and well, but these type of stories happen in our lives all around the world each and every day. So I would challenge each and every one of those listening to remember those that not only have fallen in past years, are currently falling now, especially those on the front line trying to do the right thing. People that oftentimes, sometimes even still don't go home to their family because they don't want to infect their family in the worst case scenario. We're in a bit of a war right now already. It's called coronavirus. Back to Trump. I'll support Trump when he makes sense. He said we have a war against an unseen enemy. He said this back in March and or April. I don't remember, but I remember he was pretty adamant about that. To which I say, that war has not ended. We have not won the war, people. So let's do what is necessary to help not just those of us that may get sick or may get well, but those that end up in the front line, in harm's way, willing to put themselves in harm's way to help the rest of humanity. These are the people that deserve our applause, deserve our support, to at least try and do the right thing. Put on a face mask. It may not eliminate it, it may not get rid of it, but it at least significantly reduces, right? When you put an alarm system in your home, guess what? There is no way, there is no foolproof system, right, Jesse? We talked about Mission Impossible. What are they on? Mission Impossible what, 7?
I believe it's 7, or did I say it was 8? No, I think it was 7.
Yeah, 7. So they're making a 7, which I love. Tom Cruise, great guy. But Mission Impossible is literally no mission is impossible, right? That's the whole idea or the practicality of the character, right? The agent that he plays. I forget his name. But my point is this. There is nothing completely 100% foolproof, right? There just isn't. There's always a way around, right? That's the idea, right? But is it greatly reducing exposure? Yes. Is greatly reducing exposure by cleaning your hands, right? Yes. Are there health benefits to just washing your hands quite regularly and or keeping your social distance from somebody else? It may not be fun. It may not be practical all the time. But let's try to remember first thing foremost. Do you love your fellow man to try to do the right thing and say, you know what? I want to keep you safe. I don't want to put you in harm's way. And again, please remember our frontline workers. Okay, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back right after these messages with more right after this. All right, those of us still here, we appreciate you. Thank you for tweeting, sharing, getting the word out. Stephanie Reed tuning in. Thank you from Cleveland, Ohio. Says, hello, happy editing this glorious, gloomy awesomeness day for today. Yesenia Flores says, you don't have to... Wait, what? Oh, talk about you guys? Oh, just post the link. I don't mind. Let's see. Angel Robertson, thank you for tuning in. Scott says, have a blessed and badass day. He's really awesome. They're seriously, that guy. Amadi tuning in. Awesome. Michelle tuning in. Beverly tuning in. Jonah tuning in. Deepika tuning in. Hey, Deepika, let us know where you're tuning in from. Algenia tuning in. Blanca tuning in from our own Inland Empire. Stay safe out there. And put on the face mask. Seriously, don't get it in your lungs and or your throat. Roger says, autos have a filter sometimes behind the glove box. Change that, and it may help inside the car. Well, that's the problem. And you're saying for everybody else. That's smart. My car has an open, somebody broke it, and just haven't had it fixed. Honestly, didn't need to for quite some time, and now I'm left with just one vehicle. So let's see. You may not get evacuation order in time. If you see flames anywhere, you might want to leave. Good job, Roger. You know what, Roger? I like you. I like the way you think. Do the right thing. Don't. There are some people that are so stubborn because they don't want to leave their house for fear that it might get robbed. I say, save your life. You can't take your house with you. Do you know anybody, Jesse, that has died and taken their house with them?
20 seconds. No.
I think the only ones that want to keep into their homes are the spirits that want to stay, right?
Yeah. It's just an object.
That's the idea, right? Do you want to come or do you want to stay? I want to stay behind. Why? Because
we got 2 seconds.
I love my house too much. It was so beautiful. Oh. That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMT, 1490 AM. Joining our live audience there on Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, YouTube, of course, LinkedIn as well. Lots of stories. This one kind of got to me a bit because, I don't like to talk about situations like this, but at the same time, I'm starting to see a trend, oddly enough, and trends are never good when you start seeing these. In LA, for example, in Hollywood, there was a shooting of, I believe, 3 people involved. That happened, and it was a drug deal gone bad. But now, in our own neck of the woods, I'm going to just read this word for word. Authorities are continuing their search for the suspect responsible for a shooting at an illegal marijuana grow in Riverside County, which has been described as an organized crime type of operation. 7 people were fatally shot in the unincorporated area of Aguanga early Monday morning. 6 of the victims were found inside the residence on the 45,000 block of Highway 371. Another woman with gunshot wounds was taken to a hospital where she died. Investigators said evidence collected there indicated the residence was being used to manufacture and harvest an illicit marijuana operation. Sheriff Chad Bianco said it wasn't a small operation, and he has requested assistance from federal authorities in the case, adding that this is not the first homicide this year related to illegal marijuana. More than 1,000 pounds of marijuana worth upwards of $5 million and several hundred marijuana plants were found, authorities said in a press release. The names of those fatally shot were not immediately released. The investigation is ongoing. Anyone with information regarding the case is asked by the Sheriff's Department to call 951-955-2777. Again, that's 951-955-2777. One more time, that's 951-955-2777. Look, I'm starting to see, let me bring up the other one, which just happened, because whenever you start seeing trends happen, you start saying, what is going on in the drug world, right? And I don't know about you, Jesse, but of course you're thinking, marijuana, there's legal marijuana. Why would there be illegal marijuana, right?
Just a bit.
Well, here's another situation that went bad, and this was in Hollywood. Again, same week, and you got to ask, are these related? Which I would venture to say they are. But if they're not, it makes you wonder what's going on in the drug, whatever you want to call them. I don't want to use the C word because you never know who might come. You know what? I got nothing to lose. Take me out. Done. The cartel. You got it? Oh, I'm going all out. You want to take me out? Take me out. I got nothing to lose. Seriously. Seriously, I feel like a kamikaze bomber, like kamikaze, just, what many people and journalists have often gone missing when they mention anything about the cartel. But you know what? Here's what I say, come get me, bring it on. Because I seriously am tired of the Mexican cartel taking over the United States of America. And why hasn't anybody taken them out just yet? You understand where I'm going with this? Look, each and every one of you drug mafia people, get out of town. We don't want you. 100% go back to where you came from. But here's the problem I've been seeing as of late. There are people here in the United States of America doing business with the cartel and or mafia. There's another one I'm going to use as well. Come get me. I got nothing to lose. Seriously. Here's the reality. Anybody doing business with either one of those, hey, Mr. President Trump, why don't you do the right thing, get the FBI and everybody else to take these ones out? You know why? I'm hearing day in and day out of families which are having their loved ones, their youth, as young as 15 years old, which are taking marijuana combined with cocaine, and then laced with other stuff in marijuana. So my question to you is this. Who is wanting to harm our own very young people? Is it you, the Mexican cartel? Is it the mafia? Or is it the people here dispensing of this illegal, stuff? I can only use that word. There's other words I want to use. But seriously, I'm tired of keeping quiet about all of you Mexican cartel and all of you others. You know what? Bring it. Bring it to me. Again, my views are my views alone. Aaron Michael Sanchez, you know where to find me. But here's the question I beg each and every one. I am tired of glamorizing the drug trade war, narcos. I love Ozark, by the way, really good show. But there's a family, for example, which if you haven't seen, have you seen Ozark, Jesse?
No, I have not seen Ozark.
Jesse, I'm going to keep you off air here because this is my segment. It's like my segment alone. Jesse's quiet about this, okay? But here's the reality. You drug cartel, you mafia people harming our own. Here's my question. Why isn't the United States taking you guys out? 100%. You know what? I get the whole complaint about those that come from Mexico to do harm, because I actually don't completely disagree with that. Those that smuggle marijuana, smuggle cocaine, LSD, PC, I don't know how many drugs they have access to. I really don't. But here's what I know. You need to get taken out 100%. Forget about foreign people getting taken out. Just bomb the heck out of these guerrilla. What? Oh, they kidnap you and hang you if you talk bad about them? They slice your neck open? Bring it. I got nothing to lose. Seriously. Look, here's the reality, people. We are in a war, multiple fronts. We've got a war here for our kids, our children. In fact, I would venture to say the majority of drug lords don't even want their kids around that stuff. They don't want their kids throwing caution to the wind and saying, here, go ahead and smoke some of this. This won't, oh, well, that one might harm you. Hold on, let me switch. Oh, no, that one will harm you too. Hold on. There's one here. There it is. I think the majority of mafia and or cartel leaders, when they have kids, they try to keep them safe and sound away from the majority of that stuff, right? And anybody that's a respectable mafia, I will say this. I do love you guys when you put your family first, although you cause harm to the rest of us, okay? So I take issue with it. I'm sorry, I do. But there you go. Slice my neck open, hang me up over the whatever you guys want to do. Done. I got nothing to lose. Seriously, come at me. 100%. But here's what I also want to say. You need to do the right thing. You need to take your drugs out of the United States of America and go pollute your own. Wait, what? Is that a terrible idea? Yeah, that's a terrible idea too. You know what? I don't know, but I do know this. I'm not running for president, but if I were running for president, you know what I would say? Each and every one of you, you're gone, eventually. Done, done, and done. But I don't think President Trump or any other president has been tough enough to want to say this. So I'm going to be the first one to say it. You got to go. You got to get out of our area. Are we getting paid under the table by these drug mafia leaders? Is that what's happening? Because I know that happens in Mexico. That's why Mexico hasn't done anything about it. Well, you know what? FBI and all the other secret organizations out there, let's focus on our kids. Why don't we do that? Because I'm hearing kids left and right, which are getting shot up, beaten, destroyed. Oh, they don't do that to them. Oh, they do it with the drugs that they import. Oh, or export out of their country into our country. Got it. Okay. Well, then let's not do that, okay? Here's a situation which, I don't know, two different completely stories in 2 different counties. Something's going on. There must be a war happening underneath that we don't know about. Drugs are involved, or money, or a combination, or both. Or maybe it's just an innocent bystander. I don't know. But here's my point. You need to stop right here, right now, because I'm coming at you 100% eventually. You don't believe me? Oh, you'll find out. All right, people, I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez, not running for president, but boy, if I had the money, I would run, and I would do the right thing. But anyway, all right, we got to take a break. Is Sonia ready to go, by the way, Jesse?
No.
All right, good, because we got to take a break. We'll be right back right after these messages. Stay tuned.
I have not seen it yet.
All right, those of you tuning in, look, I'm very passionate about this whole cartel mafia thing. I'm not going to lie. I watched, what was it? I think 3 seasons of Ozark back to back, right? And if you haven't seen Ozark, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the kids in the room. It's just not. There's a lot of profanity. There's a lot of nudeness, stuff that you just, like in the very first 10 minutes of it, you're like, oh God, this is very adult. It's an adult theme, but they have kids in it because, you know. But long story short, you got a husband-wife duo. They're already a broken marriage, but the reality is, all I can say is, big shout out to Isai Morales over there, who we should have on the show. But he plays the mafia cartel dude. And you know what? They showed things in there, and I remember talking to a friend who I eventually met down the line, and they says, yeah, no, they do that. They actually put people in acid, and they get rid of them that way in barrels. And I'm like, oh, that's how they get rid of that's a real thing? That's not made up? Nope, that's real. Well then. So you know what, look, if I disappear all of a sudden, you know who took me out, okay? Well, it's actually one of 3 people probably, but it doesn't matter. Look, we all have one life to live. You might as well go out shining like a rock star, right? Take them out. I just wish, seriously, if I were John Wick, Jesse, I would probably do that.
30 seconds. I could see you doing that.
Why not? You know what? Take them all out until they take you out. Boom. At least you save some lives, right? True? None true? They'll get them from somewhere else? What? Are you kidding me? These kids.
10 seconds. Then you'll have the people protesting, no, drug dealers have, yeah.
They have rights.
2 seconds.
God. Welcome back.
Welcome
Yes,
back.
it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Joining our live audience there, let's see, how many different channels are we on? Oh yeah, Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and of course, LinkedIn. We appreciate you guys. Again, not sure what you guys think about the whole situation, but you know what, look, big shout out to those actors in Ozark. If you haven't seen it, it's very adult, very mature themed, okay? It's not good for the kids. But it's a good reality show made to be a fictional show, which I would venture to say a good majority of it is quite real. For example, I remember hearing one time from somebody who actually knew of the goings-ons of the cartel, and through a family friend, right? And they said to me that, and for those of you who have seen it, there's a scene where they put the bodies into a barrel of acid, and that's how they discard of the body. And it made me sick when I first saw it, and they like pour it out. The FBI are like, Oh, yep, this is a true drug cartel type of way of fashion to get rid of them. And of course, the cartel completely like, yeah, we could be in your own circle. You don't even know we're in, we're out. Like, they're more secret than our own organizations, I feel. I really do feel that. I wonder why. But my point is this. When I heard, no, that's a reality, I'm like, what? So I always kept quiet about, but you know what? I got nothing to lose. I really don't. I have nobody to lose in my life. I mean, my mom, I could see, be like, what? No. But my mom probably would agree with me. She's pretty tough there. She's like, you know what? Fine. We go out that way. We go out that way. Seriously. Because you know what? Here's the problem here on the home front. Okay. Here on our home front, we've got issues. We got issues with the young ones. And if you don't believe me, I had a conversation last week with 5 different people, each of which have had problems on their own home front, meaning in their own homes with drug abuse, drug paraphernalia, drugs. Their kids being addicted so much so, and it's not just marijuana anymore, people. I'm not attacking the marijuana, especially for medicinal use. I'm not attacking marijuana. Please don't think I'm doing that. But when you combine it with other illegal drugs, which are illegal for a reason, they cause more harm. I know, Jesse, you were talking about meth earlier. Meth is a terrible drug of choice, and yet many people are getting this type of thing. Is that not right?
Oh, yeah, that is correct.
And you were talking about a Hollywood celebrity, right? Can you share that bit of info that you remember?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I was mentioning a Mighty Ducks, the goalie from the Mighty Ducks. What was his name? Sean Weiss or Weiss. And I think it was last year. They showed a picture of him. He was arrested, and his face was sunken in. I did not even recognize him. I was like, my jaw dropped when I saw him. And he's in recovery right now. So, thumbs up.
And there are so many that are on the streets using these drugs or have used these drugs. And unfortunately, I say to the families, I say, you know what, reach out to them, okay? They may not want help, but be aware of where they're at and try to get them the help. Look, for those of you, and I've tuned a couple of people to an interview that I had a while back. It's first and foremost on my Aaron Michael Sanchez Facebook feed, okay? SOBA Recovery Centers is the one which I feel is on the forefront trying to repair those that some don't even want to be repaired, right? They were so stuck in the middle of this drug trade war. What I mean by that, they're the end user paying into this, right? Thinking it's not going to cause a problem to their body. And the drug people out there know, well, this is an easy thing, especially during coronavirus, because people are stressed out, frustrated, mad, angry, upset. They need something to chill them out. But as what I've heard lately, I've been hearing a very bad trend, and those of you that may or may not know, cocaine seems to be interlaced with a lot of these marijuana products. So if your child is taking marijuana, number one, make sure it's only marijuana, right? I mean, worst case scenario, don't be all like, rah, 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 right? But then be open enough to be able to say, what other drugs are you taking, right? And then take it to the next level at some point and say, you know what, I think we need help, we need intervention. And then at some point, but get the information first, allow the child to be open to you, to being okay with at least the marijuana. I say that much, right? I mean, I would rather, I don't know about you, Jesse, but I would rather, if I had my own child taking just marijuana rather than combining it with other drugs. Is that right?
Yeah, just keep it natural. Keep it from the earth.
Keep it 100%, right? But as of late, I've been hearing some marijuana products being laced with other types of either chemicals and or combined with other types of drugs, interlacing with it all, causing problems for our youth of today. So, I care about the youth today, don't you? I don't need to have my own child to say, you know what? I care about other people's children. I don't need to have my own child, my own biological child is what I mean, to say, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to throw my hands up. Because you know what? I got nothing to lose. So I'm going to call it out. That's number one. Seriously, if President Trump said that, I will vote for the guy. I really will. I'll say, you know what, President Trump? Good job. Let's take out the drug trade war. Because that's a lot of financial money for the government. Well, marijuana is a legal one, but the illegal one, they should want to take them out, right? Yes. Okay, there you go. So that's my point. So look, take out the illegal drugs, all of them, right? Oh, there's some here on the home front still doing business, and it's hard because they're interlaced in between the government authorities too, from the top down. Well, then what are we going to do, people? Seriously, somebody's got to do something, right? Like, let's hire a bunch of John Wicks to take them out. Is that a problem? They fund the trade drug war. It's complicated because it includes guns, too. Military? They got their own military? Oh. Maybe I should keep quiet about it. You know what? I got nothing to lose. I seriously don't. So come at me. Shoot. Maybe that's why I'm going to go combat training. Anyway, I love you. I really do, each and every one of you. We got to take another break. We'll be back right after these messages. Stay tuned. All right, for those of you tuning in, I appreciate you. I do. I know as of late I've been a little against wrong, but these are things that I've always kept quiet about because, I used to have what I call like an instant family. The family's no longer around, so I'm all alone. So it's called, you know what? Come at me. I'm the only one you could take out, seriously, or my mom. But my mom, one time, she says, if I did the crime, I'll do the time. My mom's like, I love my mom. She's like, you look at her and you go, oh, she's so sweet. Yeah, but she got a flip side, seriously. She's like, all right, let's do this. Seriously. Got nothing to lose, really don't. Everybody's got something to lose. Nah, not really. Not really. I don't. All of those that I ever cared about, that I loved, 100% taken away. I got nothing left. I really do. That said, you should care about your mom. She's 70, going on 71. I think she's ready to move on. I think I'm ready to move on. If I'm going to, look, Jesse, you know how many people take their lives? I say, why take your life when you could just be a John Wick and then take each and every one of them out before you get taken out? I think John Wick, if he were to die in his last day, God would say, good job, man. Shoot, I wanted to take him out, but my angels can only do so much. You were a badass. Good job. Right? Don't you think? Don't you think he'd be like, you know what? You're elevated to train my other angels to be such badass. Oh, wait, no, they trained you? Got it. It's the other way around. The angels make John Wick badass. They're vengeful angels, right, Jesse?
I'm not going to lie. That would actually be a pretty interesting movie. John Wick passes away, goes to heaven, and then
that's
he
called
ends up
Spawn.
going...
Do you remember Spawn? Spawn was...
Yes, exactly. Like
just
Spawn.
be that. You know what? Take me out, because I bet on the other side I'd get promoted. I seriously would.
We have 10 seconds. Two seconds.
All right, thanks. That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Joining our live audience there on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, Apple TV, and of course YouTube Live, LinkedIn Live, and everywhere else you could find us. I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez. If you're not already following me, do follow me at Aaron M. Sanchez. You can also follow our next guest, returning guest, and a really good friend of mine. We go way, way back. Sonia Chason Perez. Good morning. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Sonia, thank you for, of course, coming and sharing your mornings with us. I understand you've been traveling a lot lately. You got a lot of legal cases going on. I got a question for you, though. Do you ever get tired of the legal sector?
Do I get tired of the legal sector? I get tired of some things in law, but I have a passion for getting things right.
You know, that's what I love about you. You're like a fighter. I've always said you're kind of I can't say that word here on the show, and because we're so PG, but you are like a bad, you know what I mean? Like Shaq, you a bad, That's what I call you, because you know, Sonia, you get things done. Speaking of getting things done, I understand, unfortunately, some people did some really, like, I don't know if they were necessarily, I don't know how I feel about this, but I want to say I don't think they thought ahead. You know what I'm talking about when it comes to the fires?
Oh, yes, of course. Your people can be held liable and could be sued by the federal government. They're homeowners and they neglect fire prevention, or if they just act carelessly, like we're witnessing right now. Everyone has to use common sense. And if you don't, you can be held liable criminally and civilly.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because we talked about this here on the show earlier on in the week. The gender reveal party, which is being blamed in the California wildfire, obviously, and I think I saw some footage of, and I think it was a boy, by the way, it was a blue powder, and those that don't know how gender reveal parties happen, I think there was like an explosive of some sort, which they happen to have done in a very like spark-friendly atmosphere, which was not the smartest thing. But I understand now they might be held liable to foot the bill of all the fighting, which I don't know how that's possible, because that's a lot of money.
Well, I mean, it costs a lot of money. People, yes, they can be held liable. In 2013, there was a fire in Palm Springs that burned 43 square miles, and the federal government went after Tariq El-Shawaf. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, to pay for it. And they blamed him because he did something with an electric box, and he didn't do it appropriately, and it sparked fires. I mean, you can cause a fire with, the things that we know, campfires,
right?
But just not having things cleared around your house also can hold you liable. For him, it was an electrical box plastic lid that was warped too close to the property, and it caused an electric discharge. And because the ground is dry, we don't have a lot of rain here. It caused a huge fire, and he was charged for it. He's fighting it right now. So these people that did the gender reveal in the middle of fire season, when it's dry, when we have heard about all these precautions that you have to take, yes, they can be held criminally liable and civilly liable.
I'm glad you're bringing that up, because sometimes people go, what, but why? And, I didn't know. And there's an act of not knowing. And then, let's flip it to the other end. You got a lot of arsonists out there, which I haven't seen the news as of late, but what I mean by that is I feel like a lot of investigations are currently happening. So is there a difference between willfully causing versus accidentally causing, or not really? It's kind of like driving under the influence, and if it leads into somebody else dying, that is what, I forget what degree that they go after. Is it second degree manslaughter, third degree? I don't remember.
Well, I mean, we're talking about wildfires, so I think it's completely different, but except for what you're talking about. That fires that are intentionally set are arson. That's different, and that's also held. You can be held criminally liable for that as well, as have some civil damages. But this is unintended, you don't mean to do it, but it's just such egregious behavior that you will be held accountable. Unattended campfires, fireworks. We've been seeing a lot of fireworks. And sparks from equipment or vehicles without working spark arresters, or burning leaves and debris. So all of that stuff can lead to you being held liable for damage. You're putting people's lives and their homes at risk. So the only way to try to prevent people from acting so negligently and recklessly is to hold them accountable.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, holding people accountable. I feel fewer and fewer people are feeling that, because they're kind of taking the law into their own hands. Recently, I saw a police officer get attacked by the person he was trying to arrest. I don't know the situation that was in that, and he wasn't necessarily doing the wrong thing, but all of a sudden, the other person turned on him, started beating up the police officer. He tried to defend himself, but then all of these other people kind of joined in on the fight to help protect the police officer. And I was like, wow. But then they beat up the guy so bad, it was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Some people are taking justice in their own hands. Why is this so not the right thing to do, especially can they be held liable criminally as well?
Of course. I mean, so we're talking about something completely different than the wildfires. So now we're talking about when you're going to help someone, you use the same force that is used against you. So if you're talking about a situation where someone is trying to prevent violence against another person, which in this case was a police officer, then they can only use the necessary violence to stop the perpetrator from harming somebody else. You can't then it's not a freebie to go punch them in the head once the person is under control.
I'm glad you said that. I know, a lot of people have questions as to what is the proper, for example, a lot of people have open carry or concealed carry, what do they call it? I know certain states differ from other states when it comes to gun laws, right? But those that have a right to bear arms, sometimes they're not doing the right thing by just pointing it at everybody and brandishing it. Obviously, there's things and considerations. If it goes off, they could be held liable as well, right?
Right. I mean, again, that's another example of reckless behavior. Anything that's foreseeable, that if you're, shooting fireworks or during dry season and causing a wildfire, it's foreseeable that you can cause a wildfire and then that can spread and damage homes and maybe injure people or cause death. So that's all common sense leads to liability, prevention. And if you do the same thing when you're trying to prevent somebody from getting harmed, but then you start becoming the aggressor, then you can be held criminally liable for that as well.
Right. Yeah, sometimes I wish there was like a real Batman or Superman of the earth, that would just like throw caution to the wind and say, they're going to take them out, vengeance is mine. But in reality, the court system doesn't work that way, right? It's the burden of proof that you need in order to because I don't know how many people out there get innocent, even though they are technically guilty behind the scenes, but that's our court system. Is there any suggestion that you have for those that are innocent, but, for example, those that get stopped, you have rights. You have your own rights as well. And I find that, unfortunately, there are people that are innocent going to prison for stuff that somebody else did.
Well, sometimes, unfortunately, you asked me when we started this if I get tired of things in the profession. What I get tired of is when people don't do their job. And that includes the police when they don't investigate and they go after somebody that is an easy target, and then the prosecutors do the same thing because their incentive is to prosecute a crime. So sometimes they will prosecute an innocent person because it's easier to do that, and it looks like they're the person instead of, and it's a real disservice, obviously, to the community that they're supposed to be serving. Because having an innocent person in jail, while it's incredibly unfair and unjust, also allows the person who committed the crime to be free. So that is a huge problem, and that's why I do defend people that are charged in our criminal justice system, and they are presumed innocent until proven guilty. But it does seem like lately our system is guilty until proven innocent, and that's a shame because that's what separates our system of justice from other systems in other countries.
I think
the shooting and concealed weapons, the same kind of it's just like everything leads to common sense. You have a responsibility to use a weapon properly. You need to educate yourself and not just brandish weapons.
See, people,
and if you shoot somebody accidentally, then there could be consequences depending on how that happened.
Yeah, see, people, this is why, like Sonia Chason Perez, you got to go check her out. She's on Facebook. She's everywhere. I'm going to post her picture a little bit later with how to call her as well. And if you have a case that needs to be solved and or defended, she's your go-to person. I want to say thank you, Sonia, for spending time with us here on the morning show. Can't wait to have you back on the next subject, whatever that is. This world's going from gone crazier to crazier to crazier. I hope you're staying safe over there.
I am just trying to breathe.
I know, right? Just breathe, just breathe. Okay, thank you very much for spending time with us, Sonia.
Bye.
All right, for the rest of you, we got to go. We are out of time here on the morning show. Download our app. It's free, KMET, 1490 AM. Remember, my views are only if you're the mafia member and or the cartel person. Attack me personally. Hold the others irresponsibly. Well, I'm not irresponsible. They attack me. Jesse doesn't agree with anything I say, including the station. Just remember that. And Facebook, don't hold them responsible. Don't hold anybody else responsible, okay? It's just me. Come at me. Bye-bye, everybody. All right, for the rest of you tuning in, I appreciate you. Look, I got a little bit more time because it's just you and me right here, right now, right? So now everything I say will be held against me eventually. True, true, and true. So here's what I'm going to say right here, right now. I don't know what side of the fence you're on, whether you like the drugs or you don't like the drugs. There are some that I say to some, just do the right thing. Don't take the drugs. And then they say, yeah, but it makes you feel good. And I say, that makes you feel good? Eventually it's going to rot away your teeth. Back to meth, back to crystal meth, right? I don't think anybody is on the fence about how bad crystal meth is. So what if we did this, just out of curiosity? What if we attacked the particular drugs that keep harming our teens or young adults? And I know they attack the adults as well, but it often starts at the very youngest of us all. Now, I think it was maybe last week I talked about pedophiliacs, right? Pedophilia. Maybe I did, maybe I don't. Maybe I talked with somebody else about this. But look, anybody that preys on the youth of our generation is a very evil person, okay? I don't care what you think about good versus bad. I'm just talking about evil. Evil is a whole other subsection. You understand where I'm going with this? Anybody that preys on the youth of our generation by giving them drugs so as to, A, make an almighty dollar quick, fast, and furiously, to be able to profit from, let's put it that way, and to get money incoming, right? Because let's face it, I'm sure there's a lot of desperate people doing and dealing the drugs. You know why I say that? Because I've met a lot of reformed drug addicts, reformed drug dealers. So here's my point in saying this. I don't blame those that are on the front line 100% as long as they eventually do the right thing and say, you know what? Yeah, I am kind of causing a lot of deaths, and I don't even know how many deaths I'm probably contributing to, but I myself, on my last day, will I be able to say, please forgive me? I think there'll be some work to do once your last day is done, right? Well, back to the leaders in charge, right? And I'm talking about the mafia leaders and or the cartel leaders. They themselves have a pretty heavy weight, right? They got to pay money for their own families, right? Keep the families alive, keep the power. Here's the thing about power. Power can be given and it can be taken away quite suddenly, right? Don't believe me? Think of all of the, 9/11. We're talking about Osama bin Laden, are we not? Okay, we took him out, right? How difficult was that? That took quite a few years to finally get the intel on him to take him out. Here's what I say. Why don't you do the right thing, President Trump, and or any other president that's going to come into office and say, look, guys, why don't we take out, who are the mafia leaders? Do we know where they live? Let's just missile the crap out of all of them. Boom, 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 boom. Let that be a lesson and then see what they do. Oh, they'll fight back? Not if you take them out from the head down. Oh, you don't know who the head down is? You have to prove them in a court of law? Not if they're internationally, you don't. True or not true? Oh, because then you cause war with the other nation and they're not ready to go to war? Oh. All right, fine. So I guess there's a limit of things that we have the ability to do here in government. So I say, all right, well, we got to figure out something seriously because these people should not be allowed to live. Back to Batman, right? Everybody loves Batman, right? Because he's the Cape Crusader, got lots of money, able to take anybody out no matter what because, well, nobody knows his identity, right? But he doesn't want anybody else to know because it's never him that he's ever cautious of. It's the people around him, right? So if I had to be single for the rest of my life and take out the drug cartel, I'd be fine, right? Yeah, okay, so let's do that. Fine. Single for the rest of my life, 100%. Don't ever have to worry about another family again. I'll take out the cartel. Just put me in office. What? I don't have the money to run. Nobody will vote for that? Darn. All right, well, you know what? I guess I'm alone on the totem pole. But look, here's what I want to say to each and every one of you tuning in still and or watching for the very first time. We got to do something. The youth of our generation are going from bad to worse. And what I mean by that is they have a whole life. It's like it's bigger than that, bigger than what you can see on the screen. Really big, really wide, right? That's their whole life. But here's what drugs do. Now, if they get the help that they need, they might go from there to at least let me move over, right? Actually, it's wider than that, right? Maybe go back to the whole life is ahead of them. You know why I know this? I know people that have fought on the front lines and gotten the help for others that did not want the help. If you don't believe me, go check out SOBA recovery centers, okay? I've had a couple people comment on that and or share it. Some people don't want to come out about their own families because they feel they don't want to be ashamed of the situation, right? But here's what I say. Those that often do recover often are on the front lines to help one another out. And what I mean by that is simple. George Hanley of SOBA Recovery Centers, you'll find him, I hope I got the name right because I always get his name wrong. But SOBA Recovery Centers, if you go to my official Facebook page, okay, there's a check mark there. Even if you don't know anybody personally that could benefit, go and share that, okay? Share that with somebody that can benefit from it. Okay, recently I had somebody come to me and they shared a family friend situation. I said, look, just have them call me. I'll put them in touch with the organization. It's SOBA Recovery Center. Greg Hanley. I apologize. I always get his name wrong. Greg Hanley, not George. Greg. Starts with a G. It's my head. I got a lot of names in my head. You can go check out their centers. They have treatment centers in California, Texas, Arizona, and New Jersey. Call for more info at 866-445-9104. That's 866-445-9104. Fine. If we can't take out the... Oh, I could cuss now because I'm not on the radio. I'll still keep it PG for the kids in the room. But here's the reality. If we don't go after the mafia members, the leaders really, and or the whole association, because then somebody else takes their power, their seat power. I get that. I get everybody's got to make money. Everybody, like, they fund a business. It's their business. I get it. Don't take away the business from the other members. They won't know what to do. All right, fine. But then let's do this. Simple. We put more investment into the recovery centers like Greg's. And you know why I say this? There's another interview that's actually on YouTube and also on Facebook where I had him for another 45 minutes, okay? For the 45 minutes, he actually has a very interesting take on where we are, especially here in California. And he says, you know, he tried to get, well, he ran for president. He says 2 people voted for him. But he also said, very importantly, that he talked to certain people that would eventually run. He helped fund them as well, and then they did nothing about it. To do what? Bring more money back into the recovery centers? Do you know how hard it is to operate as a recovery center? You would think that more money would be put towards the recovery center to help our youth, to help our children out, to help young adults, old adults, whatever adult who is suddenly taken by this terrible, I will say, disease of the mind. And what I mean by that is when you have an addiction, where does the addiction start? Usually the feel-good drug of choice, right, whatever that drug is, has an addictive quality which makes you want to go back, hit more than once. If you don't believe me, you've never taken a drug. Or you have a really good tolerance for some. I've heard of people going, yeah, I tried it once, hated it, never tried it again. And then there's some that make them try it for multiple times, right? I've seen movies where they inject somebody with it. They go, yeah, what do you like about that now? Well, you know what? I would go to Greg and say, detox me so I can get back on the streets and fight crime. But I don't have a gun. I don't have a sword, and I definitely don't have a cape, and I don't have $1 billion, but boy, if I did, at least here's what I would do. Invest more back into the recovery centers. We need to help our kids, people. In that interview, Greg talked about something which was very important. He says, you know what? People cannot get off of these drugs with a 1-week, 2-week, or 3-week program. Some might, depending on how deep they are in. But a good recovery center will give you at least this much of what this was. His hands are tied based on costs, based on insurances, which one he actually mentioned in the interview, but we had to edit it out so that, because he's in the middle of a lawsuit, that he wasn't supposed to mention them. But I will speak for him on this. I'm not talking about the drug manufacturers, I'm talking about certain insurances out there are not doing the right thing and making it possible for those of our kids, of our youth, of our generation, to be able to save themselves because they limit the amount of time you could be in one of these recovery centers and that they pay for. Do you think that people spending money on drugs always have money? I would say at least 9/10 do not. Then you have the very rich kid, but the rich kid typically, right? I mean, they get the help for themselves based on their family members, so I get that. But the other 9/10 of the families out there just don't have the type of funds. A good recovery center will do anything, according to Greg, anywhere from 3 to 6 months. And this isn't like a locked up prison, by the way. His centers are really nice. They're almost like, I want to say, like if you want a vacation somewhere, you had to go to one of his recovery centers. And typically, they deal with so much stuff under the surface because it's never just the drugs. It's usually something that is piling on that some drug dealer or some friend of a friend of a friend took advantage of because the poor young kid was either mad, sad, upset, or just frustrated in life. Maybe he has anxiety problems, deals and copes with them, and maybe there's something beneath the surface that was never dealt with in the first place to be able to say, you don't need this drug of choice to live a happy life. Sober recovery centers, lock that into your head. Lock it deep down into the recesses, because I can almost guarantee you, if I had 5 different conversations all happening as of last week about young kids as young as 15 that are having drug issues combined with marijuana and cocaine. This is something that's hitting the streets right here, right now. Is anybody talking about it? No. So I'll talk about it. And here's the reality. Check. If you don't feel your kid is doing drugs, you know what? I applaud you. But have the open dialogue enough to say, hey, by the way, because you know what? The school system, we're all at home now. You have a duty as a parent to have this conversation with your youth to say at least this much. You know, I love you. I'll always love you. I don't care what you do or what you get involved with. I really don't. But here's what I care about. I care about you hurting yourself eventually. So I'm going to have a very uncomfortable conversation about drugs right here, right now. And I want you to know I'm never going to judge you. Shoot, I used to take drugs. You know whose conversation that was? My stepdad. My stepfather had a very good conversation with me as young as I believe I was 7 at the time. You know where I heard about PCP, LSD, and the like? From my stepdad. Why? Because he shared with me what he got involved with as a teenager. I don't remember how old he was because I never asked that question. But he got involved probably at the age of, I want to say maybe 13 and a half, maybe, up to 18, because I know he had a very difficult childhood growing up. His father beat him in the head, by the way, molested his sister. That's a pretty bad man, if you tell him, like, seriously, that's a terrible human being. But back to my stepdad. Was it my stepdad's fault? You know, I'm just going to call him dad, because so he's my dad. In my head, when I say dad, I just differentiate that, because I want people to know he did the right thing by me. My real father didn't have to go through it. Well, you know what? No, actually he does. He smokes a lot of weed. And he admits to that, so it's out there. But my point is this. My real father, my dad, I view him as my real father, okay? He may have done some really bad stuff as a young teenager, but he always warned me, and he said this to me, and I'll never forget it. He said, you know, sometimes it's okay. Well, no, he never said that, actually. He said this. Although I may have taken drugs, I don't want you to go near the stuff. And then he said, because here's what happened to me eventually. I became so addicted to these drugs, I had withdrawal symptoms. And the withdrawal symptoms, I tried to quit smoking, for example. Smoking was one of the least harmful, but still bad to the lungs, right? When he stopped smoking, he made a choice to stop, and he did so, he said, cold turkey. And I'm like, you know how hard it is to smoke, and then quit cold turkey? He says, yeah, I ate a lot of Doritos and gum. Kept his mouth busy, because every time he wanted a cigarette, he says, fine, Doritos. So he said he gained weight because of it, which I say, you know what? You had a lot of self-will. Oh, my God. But when he told me about PCP, LSD, and he did so many other drugs in his mind, I have to almost say, well, no wonder he got schizophrenia in the end. A lot of people that don't do the research, when you look at all these, what do they call them, psychoreactive drugs or psychedelic drugs, it causes harm to the brain eventually. But my dad was always open and honest with me. He was always honest with me. And maybe that's why I'm more honest and more out there than most people are willing to care to admit. Because I call stuff out. And I say, that's not right, that's not right, that's not right. And you know what? It's not right. Those that made him want to take these in the first place. And he always told me, be careful of your association. If you have the wrong association around you, they'll take advantage of you. They will. Don't believe me? Ask the amount of teenagers that are taking drugs and say, who gave you that drug? Oh, my friend. Which friend? Oh, I'm not ratting him out or her out. But then, guess what? 3 years pass, right? They get the help that they needed. All of a sudden, that friend comes into their life again. Hey, man, hey, how you doing, man? Right? All of a sudden, whew, you see a lower level of intelligence, or maybe not. Maybe they didn't take all the drugs. Maybe they got help as well. But here's what I often see. Kids group up with other kids that are mad, angry, and upset if they're mad, angry, and upset. You ever see a kid that sometimes they do. They get involved with a toxic relationship, right? Here's a good kid. Here's another one. Hey, I want to help you. Okay, well, come. Right? That happens. And then there's ones that just group together. Some flock together, right? It's okay. It's called support. Hey, man, take this. It's not going to hurt you much. Just take it. First hit's free. There's those. There's drug dealers in school, by the way. If you don't believe me, ask how your kids got the drug to begin with. It wasn't somebody on the corner said, hey, man, you want some? No, it's usually a family friend or somebody at school. Again, don't believe me, ask. They get exposed. Look, whoever exposes to them to it, whatever. Here's what happens. Hey, you okay? You all right? Well, you know what? Take this. This will help you. Okay. Now, it always starts usually, never with the biggest impactful drug of choice. It always starts at the very low, which I'm going to put it right here, okay? And then there's, that's like the least harmful, right? Least harmful drug of choice. Some sell medical, drugs as, the end-all, be-all as well, right? You don't believe me, there's certain drugs out there that have been, you get your hands on it. Anyway, long story short. So here's the drug of choice, which doesn't affect them, right? And then there's a drug, boom, right here. Because this drug starts to wear off, and oh, wow, it just doesn't have the effect. Well, there's one better for you. You want to get this one? Oh, my God, that one's so much better. Woo. And they go from here to here. Because here's what happens. Whoa. That drug of choice suddenly brings them far down. You know why people do crystal meth so much? It's cheap and it's affordable, and the high is so significant that the effects last longer, thereby making the drug of choice crystal meth. Some just dabble in other ones. My dad said, yeah, I did LSD maybe twice, PCP. Woo! I did that one once and I was done. I remember that. I'm just remembering that right now. Some are so extreme that they're like, right? Done. I'm not going to take that again, but I'll take the other ones. Now, my dad has what's called an addictive personality. Anybody that's ever suffered from drugs, typically, you find one of two things out. Some that can quit cold turkey, They have self-will like I've never seen. Back to my dad. He quit cold turkey smoking. But fast forward. Everybody talks about opiates. Opiates, right? Opium has a version of opium in it, whatever. Opiates, right? Painkillers. My dad later, I saw him get addicted to opiates because he was always in pain. Vicodin. Remember that drug of choice? That's a prescriptive drug, right? Now we've fought, well, that's right. You know what? I applaud President Trump and the entire administration for saying we're going to attack opioids, right? But you know what's happening in lieu of that? People that are in pain are going to other drugs of choice to help them out because they can't get their hands on certain prescription drugs. Don't believe me? Talk to the doctors out there. They'll tell you. So there's got to be a balance, right? But back to my dad. My dad, I love my dad. Seriously, my dad did this, and he did it for the right reason. He says, you know what? I'm so addicted to these opioids, I'm going to quit cold turkey. I saw a very tall, 6'4" man suddenly get shriveled up, rocking like this in a baby fetal position. I will never get that out of my head. He was rocking because of the withdrawal symptoms that he was starting to exhibit. And he wasn't even put in recovery at that point. My dad rocking. I don't remember how old he was, but I think I was 12 at the time. And seeing him rocking, Mom, what's going on? He's having withdrawals. Oh, wait, no, I didn't ask her. I asked him, Dad, are you okay? Many people wonder why I'm so adamant about drugs. I've never taken a drug in my life because of my dad, because of his example. He may not be, as we say, right in the head right now. He may suffer from schizophrenia. He may suffer mentally, but I can't blame him. But you know who I can blame? The ones who did my dad harm. His father? Oh, 100%. Those that took advantage of his situation? The evildoer? Oh yeah, them too. Look, here's the reality. Certain people do very evil acts, okay? Really evil acts. Why are we putting up with it anymore? If you want to change the world, you get rid of the evil in the world. 100%. Agree to disagree. I might be a little extreme in my viewpoints, but you know what? I like the John Wick character. I really do. Sure, John Wick was a trained assassin, so he must have killed some others for contracts, right, for money. But the moment he met his girl, his woman, she wanted him to get away from that. And he felt love for somebody. But remember, if you knew the backstory or the back art story, he was an orphan inducted into this life. So he didn't know anything else. He didn't know what love was until he met his future wife. And then she died of a debilitating disease. And he lost her for good. And he asked the man who asked for the favor. Do you remember that? John Wick 1? If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Please don't ask this of me. No. Please don't ask this of me. No. 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 Until the war came to him. Some people said, it was because of the dog. Who kills a dog? That's an evil act. You know what I would say? I would cuss, but I'm on air, so I won't cuss. Take that bleepity bleep out. Social media, everybody cusses in social media, right? Yeah. I can't do that. That's an image I don't want to portray. But here's the reality. Take the motherfucker out. Take them out. 100%. Take them out. You understand? And I'm speaking to the people who say this. Somebody's going to take it. Might as well be me to make a profit out of it. Oh, you're the motherfucker I'm talking about. We're no longer on the radio. I'm not going to get bleeped for this, by the way. Facebook allows a lot of cussing. So here we go. You ready? In life, there are people that want to do good, to which I say, good job. Keep doing more good. There are people that want to do bad, to which I say, I hope you come back to the good side. But you know what? I get it. It looks appetizing. I get it. I see John Wick. I want to do all bad just for good. I get it. I understand it. You know what? You keep doing you, and hopefully you'll come back to the good side eventually. I think in the end, we all eventually, on our last day, I think even God, the creator of all things, says to us, you know what? Woo, you did a lot of bad, but you know what? What did you do good? Back to the cartel dude, the head man. Not what I call the cronies, right? The ones that just do and profit from. He keeps them safe. They keep him safe, blah, 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 blah. I get that. I totally understand that. No judgment there. But the guy at the top, who's the guy at the top? On his last day, you got to ask, or do you really? You think the Creator has a conversation with that guy? I would venture to say he probably does. Some say, nope, he goes to the other side. You know what I say? I say, I don't think so. I think that head used to be angel turned demon that so many talk about. He has all different types of names. It doesn't matter what his name is, right? But my point is this. The evildoer, the first evil, whether you care to believe or don't care to believe, you got to wonder what's behind the scenes, right? Is there, or is it just humanity being really evil of their own accord? To which I say, I don't think so. I think there's something very sadistic, looming. We all feel it. It's in the air. I'm not talking about the smoke. Or, you know what? Let's talk about the smoke. You know when you kind of sense the smoke and you go, oh, that smell. You either hate it or you love it. I actually love smoke because it reminds me of a barbecue. But then I thought about it this morning walking out of my house, and I thought, yeah, no, it's causing a lot of damage. That's not a good smell to smell. And then I started to breathe it in and get in my throat. Still there. I got to wash it down. But here's the reality. There's a permeating thing in the world. And it's not all good. Quite evil, as a matter of fact. And we see some heinous things being done all around the world. 100%. Now, here's what I say. Hey, God, let's take them out. Remove them from this earth. Done. Let's let humans be humans once again. Remove the evildoer. Remove all the evil acts. And remove those that love to do evil. So much so that I think there are probably some that when they got removed of the evil 100%, they probably still want to do really evil stuff. But you got to learn on that. I don't know. So here's what I think the conversation goes with the very top evil, heinous person at the top of the food chain, right? Because they're always at the top. They're rarely at the bottom, right? Because they get a lot of power, a lot of money. Money usually equates power, and then they can pay off other ones, government authorities and such, which is why I think the government will never 100% take away all the mafia and or the drug cartel. I almost think it's impossible to do that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is, because they fund other authorities and pay off others, so I don't think there's a 100% ability to do that. You'd have to have a lot of John Wicks of the world that just don't care and say, you know what, take me out. It's just me. I don't care. Take me out. Yeah, I think so. So here's the reality check, which I think happens in heaven, or when you come back to the world that you're going to come back to because you died and you're sleeping and you come back. Whatever you want to say it is, I don't care. My point is this. What if in this last day, that last day, the judgment day, right? We all know there's a judgment day of some sort. People just go, I'll see you in hell. I'll see you there first. No, I'll see you in hell. Remember that? That was, I think John Wick 2. I think that's what the guy said. Well, I'll see you soon. No, I'll see you. Not if I see you, sir. That happens in so many movies. They almost like take ownership of it. Yes, of course I served the devil. He was a very good man. He was give me everything that I have. Look at me. I get women. I get cars. I get vehicles. I get power. Right? They always have that little hell moment, almost like hell is a great place to be, right? Anyway, agree to disagree, agree 100%, I don't care. But here's what I do care about. On your last day, Mr. Mafia member and or cartel member, before you come after me, remember, you still got to answer for your crimes at some point. True or untrue? True? I think it would be true. Anybody disagree with that? No? 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 Okay. So, what if you did this, just out of curiosity? Just stop. And say, you know what? He's got a point. He's got a point. Why are we giving drugs to our kids? These are our generation. We need to... I'm not going to be here forever. My kids, what if they get drugs into their... Ah, there it is. There it is. There it is. Right there. They usually have families, but the moment you interject drugs to their own kids, no, that is my kid. Get away from my kid. No. You know what? Shoot you in the head. Boom. Done. Right? Tell me that's not true. True? Not true? True? Somewhat true? Kind of true? Sometimes when they grow up to a certain age, they let them, go ahead. It's a family trait. Do it. Right? Then they let them, but not at the young age. So I'm talking to the mafia members and cartel dudes that may be listening because somebody ratted me out because I talked to you. I don't really care. But here's your family. Your family, typically what? 2-year-olds to 18-year-olds. But let's take a 12-year-old member of your family. And suddenly you inject them with the drug of choice that you are putting out on the streets. Do you think you're going to be held responsible for that life especially? I don't know. I'm not God. You know, there's a scripture proverb that speaks of this. It says, if you, although, what was the word he used? I don't really remember, but it says, if you know to do good things, how much more your Father in heaven wants to do more good things for you. Do you remember that scripture? That's a time-told scripture. I think it goes something like this. If you, although knowing good, are not good, want to do what is right for those you love, how much more your Father who is in heaven wants to do even more for you. And maybe all those that you love, true? Well, if that's true, and you apply that principle, then you got to ask or wonder, what happens on the evildoer's last day? And why do we wait till their last day? Take them out now, I say to God. Why not? Just remove them from this earth. 100%. They obviously don't care about life. They obviously are constantly doing the wrong thing. They obviously don't want to turn back. I think if you give them a chance, they're probably still not going to want to turn back from their bad ways. Heinous ways. Let me change that out. Heinous ways. There's a difference between bad ways, which we all do in life. Care to agree or disagree? Look, back to a drug dealer. Okay, I know a lot of drug dealers that have reformed themselves, become church leaders, church members, church everything. There's a scripture that says, you know, many of you, this is what you were. You may have been revilers or drunkards or done a bunch of stuff. But you know what? That's who you were formerly. You're no longer that. So do the right thing. Put on what they called it then. It was in the Greek scriptures to the Christian congregation of people who believed, right, in the word. Just do the right thing and put on the new personality. The new personality is so much different than that old personality. Throw away the old personality. Rip it off. Throw it away. Yeah, that was disgusting. It smells disgusting too. Ugh. Put on the new robe of white, clean linen. Take a bath while you're at it because you smelled, right? And never go back to that life, to that old, stinky, mildewy, gangrene-infested personality. Ugh. Nasty. And reform your life to doing good. There are a lot of John Wicks of the world, guaranteed, that were given a heavy, heavy, heavy loaded gun. There are assassins in the world which take out people on purpose because they get money, but they were often either A, given a really bad loaded gun, and or B, given a really bad loaded life. To which I say, a lot of us sometimes are given a bad hand, but some of us are given a loaded gun. Back to gangs. You know, gangs take advantage of the very downtrodden, those that want to be part of a family. Hey, come here, man. What's wrong? Don't worry about it. We're your family now. Don't worry. Why are you caring about the family? They don't care about you, but we do. We're your new family. By the way, here's a gun. Prove to us your loyalty. True or untrue? Does anybody dispute that? By the end of this conversation, I'm going to have every single drug member, cartel member, mafia member, gang member after me going, dude, don't take away our family, man. This is my essay. Right? Look, I understand this. I understand we are all of one nation. But I'd like to say we're also one of an entire world. And this entire world on this earth is all we have, people. Your life is worth living. I keep saying this 100%, but your life sometimes is limited based on the circumstances that you put yourselves in. Back to people exposed to drugs. My dad was able to rip away from it before he met my mom. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. There are some families that don't get to see that. They may be a drug addict at one point and then be interjected with their friends that were bad, constantly going, hey man, this is okay, just take it, man. It's all right. Get you high, man. Forget all your problems in the world. Just take it, right? And now that whole family has to suffer because of it. My dad stepped away at the very good time. But it still had lasting consequences in his mind. Don't believe me? Ask the majority of schizophrenics, if not all of them, and ask at what point did you have drugs in your system? And I would venture to say, if not the majority, maybe there's a small percentage of minority that never expose themselves to drugs. And then ask and make, you know what, they should do a study on that. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's out there, I need to Google it. Now I'll Google it later. But look, here's what I want to leave you with, all right? You may not be John Wick, but you may be a John Wick of the mind. What I mean by that is this. If you're a John Wick of the mind and you want to take out all those, I'm not going to say it again. I think once is enough. Did I say it twice? Oh, sorry. Evil. We'll just view it as that, okay? Take out your evil people out. And if you want to do that in your heart, just say amen in your heart. You don't have to say it out loud. Just say amen. I think if a good majority of us say amen, God will finally pay attention and say, you know what? Done. You know why I say that? There's another proverb that talks about violence on the earth. He that is hating violence, or is it the other? He that loves violence. I can never remember that one. Look it up. It's in a time-tested old book known as, I don't have to say it. I think you already know. I think the majority of us know. You know how many Catholics there are that are now mafia members and or drug cartel members? They profess to love God. They take their family 100% to the church. And the church, bless you. You'll be forgiven. I hope. Don't shoot me. Walk away, right? I think that some of the churches are to blame too, by the way, for condoning that type of behavior. Why? Because they're afraid to speak up. Are they sometimes paid off underneath the table? I don't know. Maybe that's just in movies. Maybe it's not a thing. It starts from the top down. Not just you or I. It starts with the religious organizations, the religious leaders of today that condone the behavior, sometimes not of that drug cartel member, but sometimes of bad dictators in the world. I don't think it's just the cartel. I don't think it's just the mafia. I think it goes deeper in life. You know why I say that? You know how many senators have usually been caught with their pants down? Quite a few. And the drug of choice usually is cocaine. Somebody knows somebody in high places or low places, or they just kind of, right? Am I alone in this? No? So somebody's getting paid off. I know I'm not, because I don't need that type of money. I don't want it. So back to being John Wick of the mind. Be the John Wick of the mind. You don't have to go and take a gun class. You don't need to take a martial arts class. You just have to be strong of character, strong of will, strong of your mind, and you need to start doing this with your own young family members. Sometimes parents don't take the time. They take the time to make a lot of money, get a lot of money, bring in a lot of money into the family, but they forget about the hard conversations you need to have that can ruin and or tear the family apart eventually. Sometimes it doesn't happen right away. Sometimes it's a slow tearing. Don't let I'll do that. This I don't really 100% believe, by the way. I don't. Because what are you doing? Pointing to the core of the earth? Here's what I say. Look that way, right? Oh, the family member seeking to do harm, serving the evildoer. Because the evildoer never comes 100% to you, does he? Do you remember Devil's Advocate starring Keanu? Seriously, Keanu Reeves is all the movies I love. Like, you could put them all together and learn God's will eventually, right? But in that one, the devil comes to him, right? He was the devil's advocate, blah, 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 attorney at large, whatever. We're coming out here, guys. We're coming out. Yeah, we're coming blazing. Remember Al Pacino's character? I love that movie because you know what? It's true, more true than people understand. Again, for the mature audience, Mom, don't go watch that. There's a very lewd scene several times. Charlize Theron, great actress, by the way. But back to the movie. In between, you saw whenever he looked at, or she looked at people, she thought she was going crazy in her head. Remember, their faces would morph into demonic demons. Remember that? Looked like pretty people, and then all of a sudden, right? You're like, oh my God, that's a demon there, obviously. Science fiction, fiction, reality. I say more reality than not reality. Because in that monologue, in Al Pacino's monologue at the end, great actor, by the way. I love the guy. I really do. He's a great actor. If I met him, I'd be like, thank you for doing the right thing and making people understand that evildoer actually exists on this earth somewhere. Shoot, I think maybe disguised as somebody, just like the Al Pacino character. But you remember how it started at the very beginning? How do you do that? And then Keanu Reeves had to make a decision. His attorney persona had to make a decision, right? When he realized the man he was defending was a pedophiliac, he thought he was innocent. But then he saw him do something. He goes, oh my God, what the? Bassane just did a little push through another individual, right? Another human being. He did a little push. Whether he could manifest into a human being, I don't know. I don't care. But he often uses, maybe through his other minions, the other demons that all followed him, were in heaven once, came down to earth, and ended up doing more bad than good. Those ones that forgot their lofty place in heaven, doomed to be here on this earth. I think he's just using them, just like typical, hey, I say it's going to be fine. This world, we can have it all to ourselves. Don't worry. I got your back. I don't think he does. But anyway, back to the story. So you see where I'm going with this? The Al Pacino character, which was like another attorney friend, right? He ends up, I don't want to spoil the ending, but he gets a second chance in the end, all because he took his own life. Oh, there it is. I won't tell you who took his own life, but there was some hope at the end. And then the second hope was this. They go back to the very beginning, and he has a choice to do it again. Would he do it the same way? No. Now that he knows the whole future, he goes back to square one and says, I'm never doing that again. No. But the demon character, Satan, later known as Pacino, it's all right. They always come back in the end. Is that what he said? I don't remember. Yeah, I think something similar to that, right? Don't get him this time, I'll get him again. Don't got him that time, crap, I'll get him again. Didn't get them again? Don't look, he's right there. Disguised as somebody you thought cared about you, but wants to bring you down with them. Whoa. And sometimes he uses the one that's downtrodden, stuck there, because they think they need to stay there. Hey, you owe me now. Come on, pass out my weed laced with cocaine, PCP, LSD, and a bunch of other stuff I can't even pronounce. It's so terrible. Pass it out. Go on. Go on. You're not going to make any money any other way. You're a felon. Oh, yeah, that's right. There are so many different levels of complications there, I can't even begin to imagine. In our prison system, are we rehabilitating for them to want to do what's good? You give them, label them as a felon for life, but they did a lot of good. Now they have a hard time finding money or making money at that. I know some that went to the prison life and made a change, but that's a far minority. I would rather hope for the majority to want to go in a recovery center like this and come out doing better. You know, some they put with dogs and they make them love dogs so that because they never learned to love something else other than themselves. It's true. You know who takes advantage of that? The evildoer. Back to Pacino's character. Hey man, this is the time. We're coming out, guns blazing. We need to do a follow-up. Heaven's advocate, right? To which I say, God, I'm done. I'm done with the evildoer. Let's remove all of them. Take care of the world, 100%. Get rid of every one of them. They obviously don't want to do any good. So here's what I say to each and every one of you still listening. If you're still listening, you want to do what's right. But I feel there's a little bit of stuff sometimes stuck in our heart. I'm the first one to say, I love John Wick. I love guns blazing. I love taking out the evildoer. I'm 100% for that type of life. 100%. Sign me up for that. If I could take out every mafia member and be a spook, done. To which I admire those that work for our government that do exactly that. Back to Osama bin Laden. Did a lot of bad, 9/11, whether you care to disagree or agree. Did a lot of bad. Evil? Yeah, let's lump it in the same. Bad and evil? There you go. Pretending to do good, right? I get it. He had a terrible childhood as well, grew up in an area war-torn, saw the evildoer in his eyes as the government, which ended up hurting his family, I believe. Is that what happened? I don't remember the story. But usually that happens with ones that they recruit, right? Terrorism. Well, how do they get bombs? How do they get these people to give up their lives, step into an airplane, and attack and kill themselves? Oh, because they're told God will forgive them. Give them a lot of women. That sounds great. I like that. That's better than being on this earth. If I got to go out, let's go out like that. And I say, then be the opposite. Live your life. Continue to live your life and continue to do good. Sometimes that's hard. Sometimes it's hard to call out the evildoer. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes I know a lot of journalists, not personally, but I've read up on it, that call out sometimes these members, these cartel members or mafia members, and they get put on display for everybody to see. You know what I said when I saw that? Well, at the time I was single, 100%. And I was like, sign me up for that. If I'm going to go out, at least I call them out ahead of time, then I would hope somebody would do the right. You know, nobody did anything against the cartel after that. They just, wash my hands. Don't want to touch that. Don't want to touch that. I think we need some reformed mafia members and or reformed cartel dudes to kind of turn on the others. I think they know how to take them out. And I think some actually wish for that. I think some secretly in their heart wish for that. Because then it goes and attacks their own family. Back to John Wick. John Wick, his wife got taken out, but his family was his The dog. Why? Because she gifted him the dog because she knew she would die. It wasn't just the dog. It was the whole everything that surrounded that. The loving member of his new family was just him and the dog. But it was more important who it symbolized, his wife, his dead wife. You have family members as well that you love, do you not? And if you do not, I feel terrible for you. You know, we only have one life to live on this earth. I say live it well. But I know some that are handed a heavy burden, a very heavy burden, a burden I can't even understand. And I think if the roles were reversed, to be very frank, and I was given, back to the cartel member, the very top head honcho, right? Back to the very guy who probably wants to take me out once he sees this video, that you were probably given a very difficult life to begin with. And you know what? If the roles were reversed, I'm not going to lie. If I were given the same exact situation as you were given, would I be speaking here in this way, shape, or fashion, or would I be doing exactly what you're doing in the end? And I think that's what the prophet of old, a.k.a. Yeshua, said when he said, "Forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." You're almost on automatic pilot. You don't know. You have no idea what's going on. Or you don't care, or you've so hardened your heart. All you know is your own life. And your family are those that you love, and you're protecting your family. But boy, if somebody came at your family, you'd be the first, shoot them in the head, right? True? Not true? True. So it's about who shoots each other first, right? Back to guns. I love guns. You know why? Take out the evildoer. Done. I love government. You know why? Take out the evildoer. Hitler. Done. Take out any other dictator like Hitler. Done. 100%. Take them out. Done. I'm all for that. Like I said, God, his angels, they're not babies. I take issue with baby little cherubs. They're not babies. I think they take issue with that. I think the angels are mighty warriors. You don't believe me? Look at any time a mighty angel came out and took out a whole nation. It wasn't just the physical armies. There were mighty angels directing their blow, directing their punch, directing their gun. True, not true? I don't know. I think honestly we got some help from the other authority against Germany. Well, I love Germany. I love the people in Germany. I'm talking about those that just were feeding into the anger, the hate. That kind of sounds familiar, doesn't it? Many call it, don't be a Nazi, right? But there's people that are like, no, I love Nazis. They're great, 100%. Heil, right? I say, do you know who you're serving in the end? I don't think, this conversation came up recently, I don't think Adolf Hitler was born bad. I really don't. Some say, what if you would have gone back in time? There's a cool movie that's about that. If you went back in time, took out Adolf Hitler before he was ever born or when he was an early kid, would you have saved humanity? To which I say, no, I think the evildoer, the numero uno evildoer, would have gotten into somebody else's head at some point in their life and said, hey, got a proposition for you. It's a deal. You're going to have so much power. You're not going to know what to do with it. You know, Hitler, if you look at the documentary on Adolf Hitler, his goal was to overcome the entire world. World domination. World domination. One man with the whole army. Emphatic. Speaking. I have no idea what the heck he was saying, but he was promising prosperity, goodness, for the Germany had unfortunately hit rock bottom. Right, with the little mustache, everybody knows it, right? Everybody in applause. Why? Because he was promising good days ahead. Good days ahead are for you, and I will be the one to do it and deliver you. It will be me. We must rise up. We must, you see that type of thought process? Terrible. That's terrible. And what did he do? Nothing but bad. Put a lot of people in danger, including his own army. Oftentimes talks about his state of mind. I don't know at what age he flipped, but he obviously flipped at one point. But you know what? Somebody said to me, yeah, but you know what? That's been happening ever since the beginning of time. There's always been evil dictators and or rulers, in which I say, yeah, who do you think was behind that common theme? Huh? Look, be religious, be spiritual, be whatever you are, but just remember, there is a bad evildoer in the world. He makes bad look good. Oftentimes makes people say, you know what? I don't think God cares. That's it. That's the end of the day. Done. I don't need to touch you anymore. Who else can I turn? That's the whole purpose. Make God look bad. Or some say this, well, if God really cared, why would he let that thing, former angel gone bad, don't believe me, look it up. Why would he allow him to still live and do more harm on this earth for the rest of us to have to bear and or carry? Which I say, I'm fed up. Get rid of him. And anyone else that wants to follow him, known as the other former angels, now demons. Look, here's what I say. If there were some demons that really wanted to do good, if that was even a thing, let them return to their former state, but let them do the crime. They did the crime, they should do the time, right? I'm sure there's a punishment up there. We're just waiting for anybody and everybody, right? But there must be like a wanting to come back to the way they formerly were, because I don't think any of us ever were created to be 100% all evil. I think the majority of us, at least our former state, were quite good. You don't believe me? Look at a little child, a little baby that has a mother. They may not have a father, but they have a mother. I'm not talking about the orphans of the child, but hopefully somebody will take them under their wing, somebody responsible, somebody caring, somebody loving. I'm talking about the kid that grows up as an orphan, doesn't have a mother to turn to. Maybe doesn't have a father figure to turn to. You have to put those over here for now. But I'm talking about the rest. You ever seen a baby look up at their mother with love and the mother feel love for their child? I get it. There's exceptions to the rule. Sometimes some women, unfortunately, postpartum depression, right? End up taking their youth out, their young one out. I'm not talking about those situations. Again, mental state of mind. I'm talking about the rest, okay? The average. Recently I saw a Facebook post and I had to comment on it because the question was, is love the answer? Can love fix everything? To which somebody says, I don't think so. And I said, well, look at a baby. Look at a young child. Look at a young child that says, you know what? They don't see color. They don't see race. They don't see any of that. They just say, oh, look, another kid I can have fun with. Yes, let's have fun. All right, let's have fun. Right? 5 years old. Let's take the 5-year-olds in the room, right? You put a bunch of kids in the room. Do you think you're like, oh, hey, don't play with the Latino kid. He's Latino. We are 100% non-Latino. There's some parents that act like that, by the way. No, I don't. Yes, you do. You say it in your speak, and the kid starts to adopt those ideas. I know it because I've heard it. I've heard some. Shoot, my own mom was told this. Don't marry a Mexican. No, I wasn't, she'd say. Hey, you were. Remember you told me. Okay, maybe not my mom. Maybe that was somebody else. Don't marry a Mexican. And they're Mexican? I'm like, they'll cheat on you. That's kind of a big blanket. And that's coming from a Mexican father to a Mexican kid. Don't marry a Mexican. They'll cheat on you. Cause you harm. All of them do? Majority. Limit your choices. I've heard that. I don't remember who I heard that from, but that was the thing. And I thought, that's a terrible idea to put in your head. Wow. Huh. Well, sure. I get it. If it happens to you, all of a sudden you go, oh, yep, he was right. He was 100% right. Woo, woo. Seriously, I've seen this. But that's a predominant thing around every human being. Like, doesn't matter what color they are, what ethnicity they are, anything. You know what I also have a problem with? Ethnicity. They're ethnic. Don't hang around them. Or they're ethnic. You know Latinos are known as ethnic? We're ethnic. Okay. Ethnicity. What's an ethnicity? I don't know. What's an ethnicity for you? Here's what I say about that. Ethnic or ethnicity. You know what? There's a thing called genocide or ethnic cleansing. Have you heard of that? That's gone through the beginning of time as well. Ethnic cleansing. Let's make our pure bloods. That was what the Aryan nation did, also known as Nazis, subscribe to, right? Keep it pure blood. Pure blood. Oh yeah, let's bleed out people so that we could keep the pure blood. Only marry those or be involved with those that are of our own pure blood. The what do they call themselves? Aryan. Yeah, the Aryan nation, right? Genocide at the highest order. Don't believe me? Look it up. But the word ethnic cleansing almost means like it somehow dumbs it down, right? Like we're going to clean you out because you're ethnically challenged there. To which I say, isn't everybody technically an ethnicity? Like 100%? You know the majority of people here in the United States of America, everybody 100% are ethnic at some point? True? Don't believe me? Even those that say, oh, you're ethnic, I'm like, you are too. We all have an ethnicity. We're all ethnic. Let's not have what I call ethnic cleansing of the mind. I'm good, they're not. Based on their color, their creed, or their religion. Ugh. Let's not have that type of mentality. Let's have the mentality of the mind that we're all equal, that we're all equal, that we're all equal. Do you use the restroom? Yeah, I do too. Well, we got something in common. You want to take some X-Lax for that constipation? You know, some people act, seriously, like, okay, I'll say it. Like they're, I hate saying that word. Like they just don't stink. You know what I'm talking about? I went to the restroom the other day. It smelled like roses. It did not stink, 100%. I'm pretty freaking awesome. I shoot gold out of my butt. You know the people I'm talking about? The people that are like, high and mighty, high and mighty. They're like, where's the restroom? I'm like, it's over there. I just don't want to use it now because I don't have any idea if you wash your hands. I've seen how you are with face masks. Ugh. And sometimes they go into the restroom and they come right out of the restroom and, you heard they're like, toilet paper, wipe, flush. They come out, open the door, walk out. Walk out. No washing of the hands, people. That's the person, ego-driven, right? Some of them not, but some of them are. Some of them forget. I don't know what the heck they is. Do you want to wash the hands with that person? I want to be like, whoa. You know what? There's a thing called soap and there's a thing called water. Let me show you how to. I don't think your parents showed you how to use it. Here you go. Here, hold it like this. Here's the water. Okay, first of all, social distance. You know what? You go to the next one. I'm going to show you, right? Here's what I do. I did this with a little 5-year-old, right? Cute kid. He sometimes would forget. I'm like, did you wash your hands? Yeah. They're not dripping. Oh, right? 5-year-old needs to learn, right? Once he was 7, he's like, yeah, wash my hands, right? Took a little bit of adjustment, but that's okay. We have adults like that, right? They don't think that there's germs on their hands. Once they wipe and some of that, we all know. We've all been there. Let's talk about it. You use the wipe. Sometimes you mishandle. You're like, oh, man, I got some on my finger. Well, you're not going to, that's good, right? No! So bacteria gets transferred from one person to another. So just get rid of it. Wash it down. Right? They say sing a song. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Do it again. A, B, C. All right, you get where I'm going with that? Wash your mentality of the mind. Some of you are dirty in the mind when it comes to ethnicities or other people that just don't look like you. Cleanse your own mind of thinking you are better than the other person or they are lesser than you. I'm the first one to admit I've had to cleanse my mind quite a few times. Why? We're all surrounded by it. It's 100% around us. You don't believe me? Even Latinos have like different levels of respect depending on what portion of Mexico you're from. You don't believe me? Latinos as well can be pretty racist. They just don't call it that. But if you called them out, I'm not racist. I love blacks. Well, why does that just have to be for blacks? African American, whatever the label is that you put on that. You know, recently somebody else called me the N-word. I'm like, you do see my skin. Are you just talking for, like, I don't get it. I don't get you. But my point in saying that is this. Let's not have the mentality of the mind to want to be like the Aryan nation ever. That's how it started. I mean, there were other factors, but then he's like, we need to be pure, people. Let's be pure. Let's judge a Jew by the way they stand, by the way their complexities. Oh, yeah, no, move that one over. Oh, my God, there's another one. They're not us. Get rid of them. You know, other camps, even in African American, or they're not American, but in Africa countries, there's ethnic cleansing, genocide from certain tribes, even tribal, right? Let's just call it tribes. We're all of different tribes. Don't believe me? Even the Native Americans, or, well, natives, I should say, the indigenous, okay? The indigenous would go against each other from time to time based on an army or of their own, like, calibration, right? Because, you know, this tribe did bad to that tribe. You can't blame them, I mean, but, you know, you're of that tribe, I'm of this tribe. Take each other out. It goes way far back, super far back. So far back, way far back. I don't know how far back, but way far back. Almost like it's part of our DNA, to which I say it's not. I think it's a spirit of the world, a spirit of the mind, or a spirit of something, but I don't think we're born with it in the beginning. I think somehow it permeates us in insidious thoughts and insidious ways, permeates the mind to make you think you are better than somebody else, and you start labeling, well, yep, that's the way they all are. What? I'm going to give you an example, okay? I'm going to go out on a limb, talk about it. Here it is. I grew up in Monterey Park, okay? Driving down the street. I'm the first to admit it, okay? I would drive down the street and I'd see somebody do something really crazy. I was one time at a stop. Seriously, I was at a stop, okay? There's the crossing, the crosswalk, right? The crosswalk's right in front of us, right? I'm in the far right lane, okay? About 5 cars back, maybe, about that. And all of a sudden, I saw this car, which was kind of a beat-up old car. I got it. And it was this person who was in the very front who needed to make a left-hand lane, but she was in the far right lane. So there's 2 lanes and then the left-hand lane. You know, it's red with the little arrow, other people going like this, right? Crossing. Well, somehow this person thought it was smart to take her car, which she had a small beat-up old car, drive it down the crosswalk, very carefully, mind you, drive it into the yellow 2 lanes, right? Stay very well within the 2 lanes. That's how small this vehicle was. And I can't lie, I kind of thought, is anybody else seeing this? She drove it in such a way to move into the very front lane of the person who was ready to make the left-hand turn when it turned green, and she was able to push it in such a way that she was like ready, like kind of butting in front of the line, but with her vehicle. And she butted right in front of the other car, got in position, ready to make the left-hand turn when it went green. And I thought, she must be Asian. That was my first thought, 100%. I was alone in the car, by the way, but that's what I thought. Must be Asian. I would never see that with an American driver. I think that's a foreigner. Asian, 100%. The light turned green, and I said, man, where's a cop when you need one? Seriously. She turned, made a left, boom! I was like, thank God, there was a cop there. Seriously, I don't know what this lady has been going on. And of course, I looked and I said, yeah, that's a lady. And she happens to be Asian. And the moral of the story, don't do that. don't draw even that's the first time and the last time I've ever seen that. So obviously it got around to everybody else of the Asian community. Don't do that. That's evidently illegal. You didn't know that? Yeah, well, we used to do that in Asian country. We had no problem with that. I thought it was a good idea. Evidently it's not. I got a big ticket for it and I got my license revoked. I don't know what the result was. I was just glad that cop was there. But here's the second moral of the story. The fact that I started to label from that moment onward. Oh, no, actually, it started way beyond that because it was a running joke, right? It's a running joke even among Asians, right? There's a funny one that goes out there. He goes, yeah, but did you die, right? Did you die? Oh, all Asians can't drive, right? There are stereotypical jokes that tend to be more right than wrong, people say, right? So we say, it's okay, it's a laugh. But in that moment, I didn't think anything of it. Now later, about a few weeks later, because I was learning, here's the sad part of me, right? Here I was growing up in an Asian community where I said, a lot of these people at the time, I was a very big Bible preacher, right? I want to do the right thing, get the Bible into the hands of those that were Asian. And, the majority of them spoke Mandarin Chinese. Some speak Cantonese, and there's so many dialects of Chinese that they're really complicated, okay? I can sit here and talk about how I learned, what I learned, and but I know how to say, 你好,我叫雅人. 你叫什么名字? No, it's 我叫, 我 is me, 你 is you. Was it 你 is you? No, 我 is me, 你 is you. Some people just know how to say 很好, right? 很好 is very good. Okay, so 你叫什么名字? 雅人. I learned a long time back. I believe that's the equivalent of my biblical name in Chinese. Don't believe me? Read a Chinese Bible. It's really cool. But a lot of Chinese members or Asian members typically are not exposed to the Bible until they come to the States because, unfortunately, it's underground. For a long time, it was underground in China. As of most recently, I talked about it the other day, where it's suddenly almost, I think the last estimate, 143 million Christians over there because somehow it got out and out, got out through different types of faiths, by the way. And, it got out so much that now it's starting to be banned there. But anyway, back to my story. So here I was trying to learn Chinese, right, with Chinese family members. And one of them, I remember, never forget her, Cindy. I was 17 at the time. I had the biggest crush on my teacher. She was my Chinese teacher. That was not why I was learning Chinese, by the way. She just happened to be so cute. And I was just like, oh, I love your culture. I love the culture. I want to be Chinese. But here I was in the very frame of mind thinking something that labeled all Asian people. But back to the story. Because you may cross the line, so to speak, or stay in the line, but do an illegal act, does not label the rest of those that identify with you all as the same. To which I have a very big issue when every Latino or Mexican person is labeled illegal. How many times have we heard it said, go back to your country where you came from? Which, by the way, I've never been told, because technically, one person says, I wouldn't take you for a Mexican after all. You don't look like one. I got a little incensed by that comment. I said, what a Mexican supposed to look like? Now, granted, I'm a little like we all are, right? We all have different ethnicities in our blood or different, let's call them characteristics, DNA strands, right? From this country, from that country. But really, if we're on the globe and we were all on Mars, what would you call that? We're Martians? I don't know. But my point is this. We relegate ourselves to the country that we're in based on the habits and or traditions that we all have, right? Agree to disagree? I don't know. Whatever. My point is this. Back to the person, back to the individual that likes to label and characterize all are bad based on that one trait. Where women sometimes hate men. They call them men haters because somebody mistreated them that happened to be a man. People go, oh yeah, well don't hate us all men. We're not all that way. Yeah, I think you are. You're all that bad. That's the mentality of the mind that needs to be readjusted. Well, and some men do that. Shoot, I've been the first one to say all women cheat. Seriously, all of them cheat. You get cheated once, they're all cheaters. And then I go, wait a minute. No, that's not true. I've cheated once or twice. So who am I to speak, right? Sometimes we have to take ownership of our own bad in order to help others be themselves, right? So I'm the first one now to say, you know what? I can't judge you. lest I be judged, because I know I'm going to be judged harshly at one point for the stuff I've done in the past. Or maybe I judge myself harshly, more harshly than the guy upstairs. But either way, I think we all kind of judge ourselves. Don't believe me? Whenever you do something bad, all of a sudden you get this little thing in your heart and you go, why did I do that? Regret, right? That's why I say have regret, because it's better that you don't keep doing the thing that you keep doing again and again and again. That regret is there for a reason. It's inbred in you, part of you, to let you know, hey, do you really want to do that again? Okay, here's the result. Watch. Do you really want to do that again? Sometimes some of us need a wake-up call, right? Back to Christianity and or Buddha and any other one that makes you think about wanting to be a better person than you currently are. Anything that makes you want to be, anything that takes you from way down here to up here, good. Wonderful. Do more of that. Because I think all of us have a journey. And sometimes we just need to be taken by the hand and lifted up. No, not really. You know what I was doing? The opposite. Some people take down, and some people lift up. Do you understand the difference? Sometimes you're already good, but you're floundering, sinking to the bottom through depression, anxiety, madness, sadness. You started here prior to coronavirus. Now you started to feel depressed, sad, mad, angry, frustrated in life. And you begin to just throw caution to the wind, do some bad stuff. I've heard of a lot of marriages ending quite suddenly because somebody's cheating on the other spouse or doing something they shouldn't be doing, whatever that is. I don't care. I don't judge. I get it. You're sad, you're depressed, you're mad, you're angry, frustrated in life. Until somebody says, hey, come on, let's do this together. Ah, there it is. Stay right there, okay? I got to go right now. Whoa. Don't leave your friends behind. If you're the good influence, stay in touch. Love them from afar. You can't be them 100% of the time, but you know what you can do? Maybe help give them some hope. Inspire them to remember there's more in life than just what we see. Inspired to have love or hope for something good that they may not see and or appreciate at the moment. And you know what you do? You help bring them up. Hey, I got to go. Okay, bye-bye. They look around. Who else can I help? Oh, my God, there's somebody. Oh, you. Let me bring you up. Boom. Got you. You're done. Yeah, you believe it. Ah, good. All right. There we go. Wait, you good too? Yeah, 100%. Good job. I think that's what we have to do in life. I think that's the purpose of life, to help one another get from there to here. They don't meet you. It's not a magnet. You have to go get them forcibly sometimes because you love them so much and bring them up until they can. You good? Just checking on you. Yeah, I'm still good. Oh, crap, I came down a little. Hey, what's wrong with you? Come here. Whoop. Sometimes it doesn't happen from a family friend. Sometimes it happens from a stranger we didn't even know prior to the day you got depressed. Each and every time in my life, I've had very down moments. And each and every time in my life, I've had people that I never knew that suddenly were going through the same thing. And they'd inspire something in me, a bit of hope. Some of you are Facebook friends. Some of you are Instagram friends. Some of you are Twitter friends. Some of you are, I don't know how we found each other. We just are connected. And some of you have reached out, not just to me, but to others in your life that you know are going through really bad stuff. You know why I know that? Because I see the comments of people depressed, mad, and angry, and sad during this time we're living in. And I see those comments, and I see the comments, and I see the support, and I see all the love. I see all of that. And then I say, but which of you, other than a public comment, reached out to that person privately? I'm not going to take anything away from those that have sent messages on my Facebook feed when I was going through some down time. But there were a select few that truly reached out through a message and says, hey, what can I do to help? Or I'm here if you need me. To which I may never have said to them, because I was so busy in life, I'm like, I can't reach out. I don't want to keep talking about it. I don't want to keep thinking about it. I just don't want to approach it right now. But thank you. It doesn't mean I don't say thank you in my head, and that in some way, shape, or form, maybe I forgot to say thank you to the Universal Supreme for saying thank you for putting people on this earth that truly care about somebody who they don't even know 100%. Maybe they don't know all the circumstances. Maybe they don't know all the behind-the-scenes things. But at least they took time out of their loving day to be loving to someone else. So thank you. And if you're watching and you sent me a message, thank you. And even if you just commented, or even if you just said a prayer, because I'll be honest, I can't return a lot of calls because I got a lot of stuff to do, and or messages. But don't think for a minute, think I'm alone. But here's what I'm telling you. If you're watching this, then you must remember this. There are people in your life that if they knew what you were going through, they would say, hey, let's do this together. Maybe not 100%, but what do you need? You just need a listening ear? I got 5 minutes. Go for it. That's too short. My life story, you know what? I'll take it. That's what I say sometimes. I hear people go, oh, I got to go. And at first, with the first 3 conversations, oh, I got to go. The moment I started really talking about all the stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's heavy for somebody else, right? This stuff is heavy. Some people are like, dang, you. One person said to me, I always thought you were vanilla, right? I'm like, should I take? But man, you took a heavy load there. Yeah, I did. But I was capable of it. I still am. 100%. I'll take any heavy load. I may not be the president of the United States of America, but I certainly am going to take any heavy load that gets to me or is given to me as a mission, because if God wills it, I will do it. You know, a while back I said there was a dream I had. It was a very involved dream. But I'll save that for another time. We've run out of time. It's been good. It's been grand. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for staying with me. And you know what? I hope you got some nugget of truth here. And if you did, keep pushing that out forward, okay? Keep sharing that. Spread the love. Spread the word. Spread the message. Spread it far and wide, because we're all here to help one another. That is my message. If we're there to help one another, why are we against one another? Why are we fighting with one another? Why are we hating one another? Why are we putting so much bad into the world that we should forget what it's like to put good into the world? You understand? There's some people that put so much bad into the world, vomit of the mouth, diarrhea of the mouth is what I call it. It's just right. I hate. To which they forgot whatever's good in the life. Here's what I say. Take the love that you misplaced, put it right underneath the hate, right? Stack them. Don't get rid of the hate once you have the love. I get that. I understand that. But at least have a base of love. And sometimes if another person can show it, sometimes all of a sudden they go from this love to that love, right? And then some, right? So much so that it far outweighs the hate. The hate's still there, but the hate starts to diminish over time. It may not entirely go away, but guess what? Maybe one day, all of a sudden, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for blessing me with the people in my life that have helped me get through the hardest time in my life. Thank you. Don't forget to say thanks each and every day for whatever life you've been given. It may not be grand, it may not be perfect, it may not be the life you wished for. But if you keep saying thank you, I'm pretty sure the level of love will continue to surmount all that is impossible in your mind. And you will be able to overcome all the bad in the world, even in your own galaxy. Sometimes I say, don't live in a bubble. But sometimes I say, live in a galaxy. When you realize we live in a galaxy, that we live on a world, on a planet that spins continuously, asteroids coming at it, the sun pulling it along through its gravitational force, other planets never colliding with it, everything in its proper perspective and or time, the stars where they need to be. We haven't had a supernova obliterate us just yet, right? I don't think it's going to happen for quite some time, right? We haven't had an asteroid obliterate us. We're still here on this earth. Let's be more loving. Let's be more kind. Let's be 100% like this, not like this. I hate you more. Right? Don't be that person. If you're going to be that person, be Batman. Bye-bye, everyone. I'm out of time. Make it a great day. Whatever you do, remember, life is worth living. So live it responsibly. Bye-bye, everyone.